Hey marketing friends, Andrew Walton here, rocking the mic, and in this video I'm going to show you that 8 different things that Neil Patel is doing to gather leads from his blog, and just as importantly, how you can essentially implement all 8 of these things in probably the next half hour or so in order to increase the effectiveness of your own blog lead generation. So I see this way too often, and it really makes me sad. You have a nice blog, you have good content that helps people, but I see site after site after site and blogger after blogger that is really quite pointlessly leaving money on the table because they're just not doing these lead generation activities. So let's go ahead and fix that, shall we? So I'm going to look at 3 different types of pages and the different ways that you can get leads from them. So let's start at the home page. Right now we're on the home page, and one of the most effective things to do on a home page, you'll see this on a lot of top blogs, is above the fold you have some sort of lead generation, lead capture opportunity. And this actually probably brings me to my first and most important point, and that is there are really 2 things that you need to do to increase and to optimize and maximize the leads that you're getting from your website. First is you have to implement these lead capture opportunities across your website, but in order to do this and have it work, you have to actually have something that people want to opt in for. So while in this video I'm going to focus on the where to capture the leads, all of this has to be based on the fact that you have something, you have the what that your audience wants. And if you don't, you really need to do some testing. You need to talk to your audience and figure out what it is they want and what they're going to opt in for. So let's assume you're taking this stuff seriously and actually care what your audience is looking for, and you're either going to do your due diligence and figure out what they want, or you already know. So great, the first and easiest place to get more opt-ins right on your homepage here above the fold. Now, if you have multiple lead magnets, you're going to want to make this the most universally applicable, because on your homepage you have to speak to, or you have the opportunity to speak to, every single type of individual, every single type of traffic that comes to your website. Unlike an individual blog post where you might be promoting that through SEO, you might be promoting it on a specific social channel, you have a lot more control and a lot better idea of who exactly is going to be visiting that page and can target accordingly, and have lead magnets that are more specifically targeted to those audiences. Your homepage gives you a couple of options. One is you can target your best audience. So out of all the blog posts you have, all the lead magnets you have, all the different customer avatars you have, you can use this top section here to target specifically your best buying audience, or you can target the most generally, broadly applicable lead magnet. How do you figure out which one is better for your business? You have to test it. We can't say in a vacuum that one is going to be better than the other. It depends on how much traffic you have for each of your avatars, the quality of that traffic, and a lot of other factors. So don't get caught up on trying to figure it out in your head what's going to work the best. Choose one option or the other. They're both excellent options. Test it and see what the results are. If you're happy with them, great, keep it running. If you're not, test the other option. Or if you have the tech capability, test one against the other directly. Also a great option. So that's all I want to say about the home page. Let's go look at the blog page. So we have a lot of real estate on the main blog page. So this is where you have multiple posts and you're previewing every post. So here's the second post and so on. Third post will be a little farther down and so on. So on this page there are really a lot of different ways that you can gather leads. One of the most effective is this top right corner here, which I think Neil does as well, or better rather, than most other people in the digital marketing game. And he's been using this lead magnet for years. So if you find something that works, you can leverage that thing for a long period of time. So right now my job, or my goal, isn't to break down all the copy in here. We can talk about that in another video. I just want to show you the where and the what. That is what you can do to get leads. So this top right-hand corner is some prime real estate. Whatever your best offer is, I would put it in here, just like Neil has. And really, quite frankly, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see bloggers make is they leave this space empty, or they don't have a very strong offer here. They have something like, oh, sign up for our newsletter. No one's going to do that, not in today's day and age. You have to deliver some massive value here, like this, and that will help you get more leads. So let's move down the page and see what other options we have. So this is a nice option. So we have the main opt-in here, and then as you'll see, as you scroll down, this will actually start to float alongside you. So after you get through the main elements of the sidebar, boom, we have this floating opportunity to opt into Neil's email list. That's a second option, and you should definitely take advantage of it. Let's see, option number 3. As you go through this, between the first post and the second post, we have another opportunity to opt in for something. You should use this as well. Now, you might have smaller previews. If that's the case, totally fine. Maybe you do 2 posts and then have your opt-in. Maybe you do 3. First, get the large-scale strategic points correct, that is, have this in here somewhere, and then worry about the nitty-gritty. Does it perform better after the first post, or after the second post, or after the third post? It will depend a little bit on your blog layout, right? Maybe you have 2 snippets across, and then you'll have 1, 2, and maybe 3, 4, and then you put the opt-in. Again, the highest leverage thing is having this versus not having it. So add it in first, optimize second. So that's the third way to capture leads on your blog page. Here at the bottom of the sidebar, we have a fourth opportunity. Now this probably won't gather as much attention or get as much action as the others, but the bottom of the sidebar content is a very, very logical place to give people an additional opportunity to opt in. Why is that? Because if I'm scrolling here and I'm not reading the blog post, but I'm reading the sidebar, what happens? What's happening to my eye path? I'm going like this, down here, through all this, and oh, it's the last thing. So my attention is going to land on the last thing. And then if I scroll farther, boom, another option. So that is a fourth opportunity. Now let's look at a fifth opportunity, down towards the bottom of the page. So in this case, it's not at the very bottom. Before the last post, Neil has this other option. You might put it after the last post. You have several options here. Again, get the strategy right and optimize the tactical implementation second. So you can insert an opt-in form either before the last post or after the last post. You could easily enter it into this section here. And that gives us 5 different options for capturing leads on the main blog page. And that's even before we talk about things like pop-ups or welcome mats, hello bars, etc. So now let's go look at an actual blog post. Now, on a blog post, you have a lot of the same options. You can use the sidebar in the same way. You can insert opt-in forms throughout the post. Let's see if there's one here. There isn't. Neil puts his all the way down at the bottom, all the way at the bottom of the post. So bottom of post is a great opportunity to capture a lead. And we have, let's find that yellow box. We have another opportunity, a content upgrade. Content upgrades were extremely popular a couple years ago and have started to fade a little bit in popularity. It's sort of just regression to the mean. When it was a brand new tactic, everyone was using it and it was working great. It still works, but now it works at sort of a particular baseline level, but they're still great. Why? Because it is the most targeted lead magnet that you could possibly have. So if we have this post on how to improve your revenue using video ads, and people find your article through SEO, or they click on your link on social media or on some other platform, offering people a guide to this specific topic is a great way to generate leads. Now, often you'll see certain bloggers put this higher up, possibly even above the fold. In this section, that was the classical way of doing it. Now Neil is putting it farther down. And one potential strategic reason for this might be, now I can't say for sure because I don't have access to his data, but if we want to analyze this and come up with a hypothesis, why is this below the fold? A reason for that might be that the people who have read down to this point are going to be higher quality leads. Neil as a top marketer doesn't need people on his email list just to get people on his email list. He needs people on his email list who are going to buy his products and programs and services. Who's more likely to buy a product or program? Someone who is at the top of the page and has read the headline. It's like, oh, I'm going to opt in. Or someone who's actually investing in learning about the materials and then is like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I want this guide. I want more knowledge on this subject. I think it's safe to say that the second group is more likely to become a buyer than someone who has just read the headline and then opts in. Now, of course, this is something that you have to actually bear out with testing. This is just me analyzing after the fact one potential reason that this is put down below the fold, but it would be immeasurably irresponsible for me to say that this is the way it absolutely should be. But one of my goals in doing this is to help you think critically about these situations and to give you options that you can then choose from. Again, the important thing is that you implement this, whether it's above the fold or below the fold, because getting some people onto your list is going to be more effective than getting no one on your list. And then again, you get to test, you get to optimize, and so on. Now, I want to show you another cool tactic that Neil has implemented. Say if we're going from the main blog into a new blog post. If it's your first visit to the site, this will happen as you go. So this is a blog post, but so before I scroll down, here's the start of the blog post at the bottom here. When I initially load the first blog post that I go to from that blog page, I get another opportunity to opt in for something. So using this sort of welcome mat style blog post intro, that's one more tool in your toolkit for collecting leads. Then if you scroll down, it disappears, can't go back to it, and now you're just in the blog post like normal. And a couple more things that you can do. So going back to the main blog page, this is another full screen takeover that happens again if it's your first visit or your first visit in a while. And there are actually a couple that come up. This is one of them. The other one I don't have on my screen in front of me to show you, but it's a normal opt-in form, just sort of like this one, where you have a form to fill out. You have a headline with a value proposition and an opportunity to opt in and your button. This is an opportunity to follow Neil on Facebook. And essentially both are activated by spending a certain amount of time on the page and potentially scrolling down a certain amount through the page. And this is something else that's really easy to set up, that there are really no excuses not to do. And again, will help you increase the number of leads that you get from your blog pages. And you can play around with the timing, have the pop-up come up after 8 seconds, have it come up after 15 seconds, see what works best for you. I wouldn't be too aggressive with it. Again, we want to consider the quality of leads and not just the quantity of leads, and people who are spending more time on your site are going to be higher quality leads. So let's quickly recap to make sure that you have all of these written down. And I think we actually got to 10, not 8. So 1, homepage. 2, main blog. We have 1 here, 2 here, 3, bottom of sidebar, 4, in the content, 5, near the bottom of the page. That gives us 6 total, right? Now, in a blog post, 7, the content upgrade, 8, the bottom of content, and then we have the different pop-ups. We have, I got rid of this, if you remember the welcome mat, and the full page takeover. That is the welcome mat when you go to a blog post, the first blog post that you go over to, and a full page takeover after you've spent a certain amount of time on a page. That gives us 10 different ways to increase the number of leads that we're getting from our website. And you know what? Because I want you to get as many leads as possible, let's look at 2 more ways that aren't on this site, but let's go over to Derek Halpern's Social Triggers, over to the About page. So a pop-up, that's normal stuff. That's nothing new. But let's scroll down. So on the About page, we have an opportunity to opt in. And on the About page, we have another opportunity to not opt in exactly, but follow another channel. And an opportunity to opt in at the bottom of the page. So you can also optimize your about page, your contact page, and any other pages on your site that aren't your main blog page, aren't your home page, etc. Get a couple more opportunities to get people's name, email address, or just email address. And this might be a 13th way. Let's have a look at this. Yep, looks like we have a 13th way to get some subscribers. Yeah. So if I click that link, I'm taken over to this landing page, and it's another opportunity to subscribe. So that gives us a total of 13 different tactics that we can employ to get more subscribers. There's really no excuse not to implement these. You might not be able to implement all of them today, but you can probably implement at least 1, 2, or 3 of them within the next 30 minutes to an hour. You can use tools like Opt-in Monster or Hello Bar, Icegram. There is an absolute plethora of both free and paid options to suit any budget. So really, there is no excuse not to make this happen. So those are the 8 things that Neil Patel is doing to gather leads from his website, which are actually 10 things and 3 bonus things that you can add. So if you were to implement just one of these ideas, you might see a 50% or even double the number of leads that you're getting, depending on what you're doing right now. If you implement half of these things, you'll probably see a very nice increase. And just imagine what will happen to your lead flow if you implement all 8 or 10 or 13 of these items with lead magnets that people actually care about, and what that will mean for the bottom line of your business. So there's no excuse not to do this. It's not technically challenging stuff. Again, there are lots of free tools that integrate into WordPress where you don't have to do any coding, or at most have to copy and paste a single line with excruciating detailed instructional videos. So if you are not getting enough leads from your blog, from your website, go choose the easiest 1 to 3 of these tactics to implement on your site right now. Go do it and reap the benefits of increased lead flow. As always, if you have any questions about this, please leave them below this video. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And now please go and make more money from your website. Do this stuff. If you've sat with me through this video, you have invested 17.5 minutes in your business, in this knowledge. Now it's time to turn that knowledge into action and get a return on that time investment that you've just put into your business. So good for you for making it to the end. Thank you for sticking with me to the end. And now please go make it count, and I will see you in another video soon.